At the end of episode 5, a single bozo appeared in the doorway, the lights went out, and all the doors shut. As episode 6 picked up, chaos broke out in Totentons, more so than usual. The bozos hacked into the club's systems, took over the PA, and pumped psychoactive gas, amygdalux, into the club. It spread throughout Totentons, inflicting violent paranoia on the already violent and unpredictable booster gangers, and on Jim Fingers. While the Monarch and Natalie were able to resist the effects along with Natalie's bodyguard Jonah, and Jerax got some new upgrades with his cyberware that filtered out of his nose, Jim began to hallucinate violently. It took Natalie's best skill and horse girl energy to calm him down and avoid having Jim start fragging his friends. Moments later, the sounds of gunshots, tearing flesh, breaking bones, and splattering blood resounded throughout the club as it devolved into a festival of frantic violence. Above it all, through the PA, echoed the depraved voice of the Bozo's new leader, someone who has a bone to pick with Royal and with the Monarch. Totentons was turning into a kill zone, and our heroes needed to escape. Fortunately for them, Jerax had the foresight to cut a hole in the building. Both Jerax and the Monarch evacuated, while Natalie had to coax Jim through his drug-addled state out of his hiding place. Jonah provided covering fire, fighting off a swarm of boosters who started to tear him apart, but he took them down one by one and held his ground. The situation outside was less crowded, but more clowned. Jerax ran around the corner of the building only to encounter a group of bozos armed with chainsaws, acid pies, and submachine guns. One of them was net running the club's old computer systems to control the PA and the sprinklers that were flooding the area with toxic gas. Jerax showed off his fancy new mono katana, invited them to come get it, ran around the corner, lured them into hand-to-hand combat range. The Monarch climbed up onto the roof and sprinted across Totentons, raining down covering fire on the clowns from above. One of them bounced up to meet him, and he executed his signature move, shotgun shot to the face. Shot after shot, the Monarch was raining down fire on the bozos, but nobody had eyes on Royal. They didn't know what happened to him inside the club, as his own private security guards began to turn on him and on everyone around him. Jim and Natalie were in terrible danger, and Royal was fighting his way to safety down below. Jim barely got outside, still struggling under the effects of the drug, only to see a clown come around the corner juggling a chainsaw headed right towards him. This sent him into a panic, and he fled down the street into more danger. Meanwhile, Natalie barely got outside as the boosters swarmed around the hole. She passed her grenade to Jonah. Jonah leapt through the hole, chucked the grenade. It bounced off too close and blew a hole not only in the side of the club, but in Jonah's legs. He was down but not out. He couldn't move very well, and now Natalie was going to have to drag him around. Outside, Royal finally blasted his way out of the Totentons, grabbed his car, and tried to tear down the alleyway where Monarch and Jerax were battling the bozos. He smashed right into Jerax, turning their favorite tactic of vehicular manslaughter against our edge runners. But Monarch leapt from the roof, crunched onto the hood, and just sprayed his nemesis down with a bunch of automatic fire. Bleeding profusely, Royal put the car in reverse, but Monarch was able to hold on, and Jerax blasted the engine. Royal, knowing his number was up, tried to just pull right past all of them, swerving left and right to kick the Monarch off of his car. The Monarch obliged, jumped into the air, did a backflip, pulled out his rocket launcher, fired it into the alley directly ahead of Royal's Vic. There was a massive explosion, the car flipped onto its back, burst into flames, and Royal's arm went flying out of the wreckage. He crawled on fire and bleeding from the wreck of the car. The surviving bozos swarmed towards the Solo, clearly intent on enacting some kind of a horrible punishment, but Jerax dropped them before they could do so. Monarch stood in the alleyway and watched as the man who'd betrayed them all led several attacks against them, slipped through their fingers time and time again, and gunned down his brother Oro in the street, bled his last into that very same pavement. With his dying breath, he uttered 2 words: Deep 6. Before the team could celebrate their victory or parse this mysterious dying message, Jim Fingers, Jonah, and Natalie Smith were still in danger. When Jim managed to reach the cars that they'd parked outside, the cars and motorcycles, he discovered that the gas cap on one of the bikes had been tampered with. Before he could delve into it any further, a bozo popped out of hiding, 2 of them. They grabbed him, dragged him out into the street, and tried to stuff an acid-filled pie into his face. He barely managed to dodge, and that's when the piano wire came out and they started to choke him to death in the streets. Natalie was trying to catch up, dragging Jonah and his broken legs with her until they got close enough to put a few well-aimed shots. Combined with Jim firing from inside that grapple, they managed to drop the clowns. The team is victorious over their nemesis, but a new enemy has arrived to torment them. Who is the new leader of the Bozos? What does he have against the team? Have their vehicles been tampered with? And what is the meaning of Royal's last words? Deep 6.